Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for the Schmoedown Rundown. Introducing first, Frankie Stats Janish. And their co-host, the man of controversy, Mr. Brian the Duke David. And finally, your host, Aaron Turner. Let's get ready to Schmoedown.
What's going on, movie trivia Schmoedown fans? It is the Schmoedown Rundown, episode number 28. Take two, unfortunately. We had some technical issues. We had a guest on we actually recorded an entire other show with Schmoevillian Tim Sim, who had came on and talked with us about the Schmoedown. And we had some technical issues, and somehow, some way, that entire show is now gone. It is lost, and I don't know what happened, and I don't know how to recover it. So to save face and to actually get you guys a show, Frank and Brian and myself are just re-recording this to make sure we get you guys a quality product and something, because otherwise we would have had nothing. So I just want to make that clear. I apologize. He did. It's not his fault, and I apologize for that. And I would love to invite you back on a future show, Tim. It's just, unfortunately, I don't know what happened, and I sincerely apologize for that. But, my name is Aaron. I am the host, as always, and Frank Janish is here. So what's going on, dude?
Yeah, great to be here. This past week, I was without internet for about 5 days, which seemed like an eternity. But I'm glad to be plugged back into the Matrix.
All right, back again. Brian, round two. What do you think? How you feeling?
Well, as I said in round one, I'm still stunned that Frank's mind isn't as spotless as I once thought.
Oh, yeah, this again.
The saga continues. 2 times the burn. We don't have any Schmoedown news this week, so what we're going to do right now is jump right into the team recap. It was team action. Ben Bateman and Andrew Guy versus the Nerds Watch, Rachel Cushing, and, of course, the pit boss, Ken Knapsack. It was a tough match all throughout, very close. Team action had a great comeback towards the end. It went to overtime, extra innings, if you will. But it was Team Nerds Watch defeating Team Action 25-24 in a great, great team matchup. Frank Janish, what'd you think, man?
Yeah, I loved this match. By the time we got to the end of it, I had been completely blown away how events transpired. Going through 5 rounds of sudden death questions was something we had never seen before in the Schmoedown. We've seen sudden death before with the Patriots Trek match, infamously, if you will. And then also we had it with JTE and Mark Ellis way back when last year. That was the first one we saw here in the Collider Studios. This match, seemed like Team Action was going to have a struggle throughout, being down 11-6 going into that second round, but things turned in their favor as they earned 11 points. Nerds Watch got 8. And they closed the gap on Nerds Watch. And in the third round, Nerds Watch couldn't close the deal by answering that the 5-point question, the final question in the third round. And it went to, as you said, extra innings. And finally, in round 5 of those questions, Nerds Watch, Rachel was able to come through and get the correct answer and sealed that victory for 25-24.
Yeah, not bad. Brian, what do you think?
Well, Rachel should be given a prop aluminum can so that she can crush that thing and re-crush that thing every time she plays. And this match was interesting because I don't think his team or an individual has gone from heel to face to heel in the same match. Christian also said a comment about how Team Action didn't have a lot of respect for us last week. So I'm not sure where that came from. Perhaps it was a continuity error, but I found it interesting nonetheless. Team Action, also the first team to come out with their moms. So very interesting in that regard. But the match went as I expected. When Ken contributes a few points here and there, Rachel's going to do the rest. It was a hard-fought win. Again, Ken delivered where Rachel needed him to do such a thing, such as the Harry Potter release year for the 2-pointer, as well as the Dumbo decade to win Team Action had a very impressive 11-point second round, due largely in part to the Favreau steal in the action adventure category, their team's sake. So very few teams could come back from a 13-point deficit to force sudden death. So credit to Team Action, even though I'm not the biggest fan of that team.
I was impressed with Team Action as well. I definitely want to see these guys again. I think they could be some real contenders in the league. Once again, I'm enamored by Rachel Cushing. She's incredible. And I have no problem by saying right now, she is my favorite Schmoedown competitor to watch. Team, singles, inner geekdom, it doesn't matter. I think she's fantastic. She's answering a multitude of questions correctly. She goes about her business a little bit quieter than most, which I enjoy that. It's very almost Drew McWeeny-like, though she is a little bit more loose than Drew McWeeny in the sense of intros and whatnot. The thing I like most about Nerds Watch is their ability to be a team, a capital T team. They gel very well, and it's something we haven't seen a lot with the newer teams. Like when a team first comes in, like I'll use Wolves of Steel as an example. It took them a couple matches to kind of get in their groove, and those are two people that have worked together. And Ken and Rachel, of course, have worked because Rachel does the website and things like that. They know each other very well, but it's different when you bring each other into a competition team element. So, Brian, what do you think about Rachel and Ken's chemistry as a capital T team?
Aside from the Patriots, I cannot think of a team that has complemented each other as well as they are this quickly. Ken has experience. He has some age that adds to the equation. He's able to pull some nuggets out that Rachel may not know just because she's a bit younger than him. So we've watched this game enough to know that age does play a factor. And backing up real quick, you talked about Rachel being your favorite. I just want to say that it's nice to see someone succeed in the Schmoedown without a gimmick or without kayfabe or the need to be a heel. Rachel just lets her play do the talking. And when you're that good, you don't need to overcompensate elsewhere by overperforming or kayfabing your way to attention. So I hope more players, especially the new ones, take a page out of the Crushers playbook and just play well. I love the entertainers, don't get me wrong, your Rochas, your JTEs, but you can come into this league and simply play well, and that's all you need.
Frank, what do you think about the team chemistry of the Nerds Watch?
Yeah, I really enjoy Rachel and Ken teaming up. We didn't have a whole lot to go on in terms of what to expect from them, as opposed to Wolves of Steel when they formed. They had been competing previously in the singles, and we had seen a lot more from Riley, but Clark Wolf was the new up-and-comer. She had dominated in her matches, and when they got together and they didn't blow the doors off the place, people were questioning. And so they had a lot more to live up to than Nerds Watch, but Nerds Watch, I think, has exceeded most people's expectations of what they could do as a team. And you're right, Rachel is something special in the league right now because, as you said, Brian, she just goes in there and answers the questions. She's not super flamboyant. She's having a little more fun with it with the entrances, with Ken and all that, shooting at the camera with the guns and all that. So and that's fun to see. But you're right, she doesn't have to be over the top like a Rocha or JTE or a Schneider, as Booker T would say. So it's a nice, different take on a competitor in the league, and it gives us a different dynamic between character and the normal folk, if you will. And I like seeing those two worlds collide because you kind of get that actually with Makuga. He's kind of like the everyman, and he goes against the Lions Den single-handedly, it seems. And I kind of like that dynamic, and who knows, we could see more of that style of story and play further in the Schmoedown.
I think it's funny at the end of most of the team match interviews that everybody just calls out the Patriots. Like, it doesn't matter if they're heel, face, if they've lost 3 matches in a row, it doesn't matter. They always call out the Patriots. I find that endlessly entertaining. And
because they're the biggest heels of the league. I mean, they're good. I mean, any way you slice it.
Yeah, I get it. And they just do. Their characters, I think, is what does it, because JTE and Jeff have found that way to just become uber heels, and I really enjoy that about them. That's why I think Team Patriots is super fun to watch, especially JTE, who I think had a hard time initially embracing that heel role because he's such a good dude, but man, he's got it down now. But it just seems like everybody guns for the Patriots, as they should. You're right.
Guys, was it 70s week in the Schmoedown? Because 70s, the category was popping up every which way. I think there were 3 wheel spins this week on 70s alone, and it popped up in separate rounds as well.
Yeah, it was interesting to see how it seems like there's some sort of category of the week, if you will. Sometimes
Right.
it's interesting to see, one week it's movie release dates and will get slaughtered, or it's 70s, and it didn't really help when we get into Makuga's match. It didn't really help him out there, but yeah, interesting to see both teams spin 70s and then obviously go away from that.
I'm sure Drew McQueenie wishes he was playing this week, given his luck last week. So obviously he did very well in 70s previously, but yeah, strange trends in the Schmoedown sometimes.
I'm sure that the Godfather had quite the smile on his face watching that category pop up as many times as it did.
Yeah.
Let's get away from the team the team recap, and let's jump into the singles recap this week. It was a battle between friends, former friends, between former partners. The Mega Powers finally exploded. It was the wild man Josh Makuga versus Tom Dagnino. It ended up being a tighter match than I think anybody had anticipated, especially Josh Makuga, as he squeaks out a victory in the last round, 16-14 over Tom Dagnino. Frank, what did you think of this one?
Oh, man, this match did not go the way I thought it would go. And I sat there saying to myself, why am I surprised? I shouldn't be surprised that something didn't go according to plan, because it doesn't happen in the Schmoedown like that. To see Dagnino show up for this match is the shenanigans I was looking for that I alluded to last week that I thought might happen. He showed up. There's no other way to put it.
Yes.
Yeah. Unlike most people, I'm not that surprised that the match was closer than we expected. I mean, the wheel is made to make matches closer than anyone expects. And when Makuga gets 70s, that spells trouble. And keep in mind, we've seen some great performances from Josh Makuga lately, but we've also seen some dreadful performances from Josh Makuga in the past, including some performances with Mr. Tom Dagnino as his teammate in team performances. So I'm not all that surprised, but as soon as I saw Makuga get a Happy Gilmore question in the final round, I knew Makuga would squeak out the win, since the guy had a Happy Gilmore poster on his wall as of about 2 years ago. And look, Tom deserved to win this match. I think he played better than Makuga throughout this match, and I'm just glad that Tom made this match watchable. I fully expected some kind of kayfabe to make up for the poor quality of this match, but Tom showed that he's far from the worst player that we've seen in this league. Makuga sure knows how to make Reese Witherspoon questions count. So if there's ever a Reese Witherspoon category in the future, look out for Josh Makuga.
Now, do you think that Makuga should be happy about this win, or should he be a little concerned that it was this close with Tom?
Both. Absolutely both. I mean, he should be slightly embarrassed, and he should totally just forget about it, because we've seen, it's Finstock. Okay, if you look at his numbers, he's not good. He's like in the 40%, answering 40%, something super low. And I'm taking away what Andreyko did to inflate his numbers. So when you see Tom Dagnino walk in and give this performance, kudos to Dagnino for showing up, but also at the same time, Makuga didn't do what he should have done and answer more questions than Dagnino. That's all it comes down to. And when you look at the numbers, Makuga only answered 11 out of 20. Dagnino answered 12 out of 20. It just so happens that Makuga is a beast in the third round, the final round in this 5-round format. So that's the only thing that saved Makuga, because they were dead even through that first round. Makuga got smoked in that second round, losing 6-2 points. Third round, he didn't even bet anything, even though he knew the answer. And Dagnino ended up gaining a point. At that point, I thought Makuga's almost as good as dead in the water, because the fact that Dagnino got to tack on another point after having such a good second round, I thought it was going to be very, very difficult for him to come back. Fourth round wasn't anything special. Makuga actually ended up losing a point in that fourth round. Dagnino didn't gain or lose anything, just stayed at 0. And then luckily that 5th round, he got all 10 points and Dagnino couldn't. So despite Dagnino answering more questions than Makuga, doesn't matter because we used points to settle the score, and Makuga ended up with just 2 more than Dagnino.
Let me ask a question here real quick. If you're going into the betting round and you bet 0 points, why even try to answer the question?
For honor. I don't know.
I get that, but he got it. But he got it right. That just had to stick. Like, that just had to make him so angry at that. I mean, he ended up winning, obviously, but man, that had to sting a lot.
And what category was it?
70s.
70s once again.
But aside from that, come on, Woodward and Bernstein. But I digress. I was very impressed by Tom in this match. I figured this was going to be 20-2, some kind of crazy blowout, and it really wasn't that way. So, like everybody has said, hats off to Tom Dagnino for a great performance.
Interesting tidbit. He used to work for a production company, or he still might work for a production company that worked on Prisoners, the Denis Villeneuve film from 2013. So I wasn't surprised in the slightest that he was able to name another Denis Villeneuve film before Arrival last year, of course. And I want to give a shout out. I don't normally do this, but I want to give a shout out to Brian Ward, as he made some great fan art with Finstock masks all over Makuga's bright jacket. So props to Brian.
Absolutely. That was an amazing fan art right there, for sure.
Yeah, that was a really cool poster. I think that's one they should actually print out and keep on the main stage. I think that one's great. Not taking anything away from the other ones that are there, because they're great also. But Makuga should definitely hang that in the writer's room. I think that'd be fantastic.
Another thing I want to point out, I thought it was really funny how, especially Harloff, was absolutely finding it humorous that Dagnino was actually answering all these questions. He was just completely dumbfounded, and I found that pretty funny on Harloff's part, that just like everybody else watching, he couldn't believe that Dagnino was hanging with Makuga, or rather Makuga was trying to hang with Dagnino. It was just such a weird way everything went in that match, and I ended up enjoying it more than I thought I would, because I thought it was going to be a bloodbath like Makuga thought, but
just as Christian drew it up. It's worth pointing out, Andreyko challenged Sam Levine, and apparently there is one person that doesn't like Perry Nemiroff, and that is JTE. I've never seen anyone criticize Perry before, but JTE did it in the post interview.
Yeah, I think I saw some people in the comments on the YouTube go after him and be like, "How dare you go after Perry?" And I'm like, "Yeah, it's a bold move. It's a bold move by JTE to go after Perry."
New rivalry? Is this a new piece of kayfabe?
Who are they going to talk to then? Like, what are they just?
They just want to do the interviews themselves. They just want to interview themselves, I think.
Exactly.
That's one way to get supreme heat on yourself, by going after Perry, who everybody loves.
That's a death sentence.
And speaking of shout outs, I have to give my own, of course, to Ken Knapsack during the match by responding to one of Tom's answers, as in, the answer was correct, the story completely false. I really enjoyed that response from Ken. That cracked me up. As always.
We're doing shout outs now? Right. Well, then I just want to say hi, Mom.
Oh, that's kind of an inside joke at this point, but we'll move on from there.
Yeah.
That's going to do it for the singles recap. Now, before we jump into the previews this week, I got to sit down with the Outlaw John Rocha this week. We talked about all kinds of stuff. We talked about his new podcast, Outlaw Nation, on the SK Plus channel. We talked about his match with Mark Riley. Why didn't he shake Mark Riley's hand? Talking about his tag team matches with Matt Nose, his relationship with Christian, talk a little bit about his relationship with Emma Fyfe, Finstock. Just about everything comes up in this interview, so you're definitely going to check it out. It's me and the Outlaw, and you're going to hear it right now. What's going on, Schmoedown fans? I am joined right now by none other than the Outlaw, John Rocha, making his 3rd appearance on the Schmoedown Rundown. Sir, that's a record.
Oh, is it really? Oh, well, good.
And I know
I just said I won all the records.
You won all the records.
That's right.
Yeah, there you go. There's another one. The 3rd appearance, the first person to ever do that. So congratulations to you for that.
Thank you. My pleasure, man. My pleasure.
Yeah, man. Thank you for taking the time on this day. I really appreciate it. Let's briefly about your latest match with Mark Riley. It didn't go your way. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
So just kind of give me your thoughts. Like where's your head at right now, and what do you have to say about that match?
Well, it was a tough loss. I mean, I think, to be honest with you, I think some things went into it that hadn't been there before. I think having the belt is a whole nother ball game than chasing the belt, you know. And I guess I didn't really understand that until I had it. And you had all the demands on my time, all the demands on like to respond to people and back and forth. And, you know, I got kind of caught up. And I think I overlooked Riley a little bit, to be honest with you, because I've beaten him in just about every form that there is to beat him in, including an unaired episode that we had where me and him went at it one day at a party at the Christmas party last year. We had an impromptu 2-round match, and I beat him then too. And so for me, I just never thought that. I just didn't think I couldn't lose. But some things happened outside, and this is what the same thing happened with Ellis. Sometimes things happen outside outside the arena that affect how I walk into the arena. So it's a learning lesson for me, if nothing else. And you know, I walked in there, and there's no excuses to give. I had every possibility to win that match, and I just didn't do that extra little bit on the comic book movie side that I should have done, which is just to peruse the cast list, just in case of all the Marvel movies, just to get my mind, you know, kind of sharp about stuff. And, you know, and it came up, and damn if it didn't bite me. You know what I'm saying? And so it's just how it works. And Riley played a hell of a game and kept fighting back. So I give all the credit to him. And, you know, it's funny because like the last match, he had everything going for him and I beat him. And I had everything going for me this time, and he beat me. So to me, in my world, Riley is my greatest rival at this point because he's finally beaten me. So.
Yeah, it has become one of the great rivalries of the Schmoedown. We've had 3 great matches. There's been no blowouts. They've all been close.
Oh, yeah.
So, I mean, do you see this going? I mean, obviously, we have the triple threat. We'll talk about that here in a second. But
yeah,
do you see yourself anytime that Riley's available, like whether it be teams or singles, do you want to get in there with him? Is that something you want to continue?
Yeah. Let me tell you something right here. This is the honest truth. This isn't the Outlaw talk. This is John Rocha talking, okay? When the Yankees lost to the Red Sox in 2004, that was the first time that I understood what it felt like to hate the Red Sox. We had always beaten the Red Sox. So to me, it never mattered to me. People said rivalry. You got to beat us for it to even matter as a rivalry. But when they came back and beat us when we were up 3-1, and Big Papi and Johnny Damon and all those fuckers like hit home runs and whatever, and then beat us, I understood what it was to hate. Riley just pulled the 2004 Red Sox thing on me, and now I understand what it is to hate Riley. Like, I love Riley as a person, and we're friends, but I want to beat him into the ground now every time I play him. I got soft. I got caught up in like feeling bad for him, and it affected how I prepared for the match. Never again. And I love Riley to pieces. I respect him as a man. He's a good champion. He's been a great champion. But all this did, if you saw what I was like before, multiply it by 100. My focus is off the charts. I'm creating cards for every movie I've ever seen. I'm studying movies I've never seen before. Like, I'm never going to miss on a Willow question or a Last Action Hero question or a Marvel movies question ever again. And so, to me, I've pushed everything else aside other than my work, and my off time is spent studying. I'm going to kill them both in the triple threat match. My goal is to destroy them, but any chance I get to face Riley, I want to face Riley and destroy him. He's done that to me by beating me in this way. Wow. This time, rather.
That kind of plays in. I have just a quick question. We could just go right through it. Why not shake Riley's hand at the end of the match? I know it sounds trivial now, but it just seems like at the spectacular, you know, you guys embraced. Yeah. It was a really cool moment, and then I was expecting it. Here it comes, and then nothing. So was that more of a character choice, or was that just an in the moment kind of thing that you wish you wouldn't have done? Or
he beat me. It's the first time he's ever beaten me. If you recall, every time I beat him, I always hug him and, you know, shake his hand and do whatever because I want him. Because I like Riley and I don't want him to feel bad.
Sure.
But this time, I just walked off because I'm like, it's your title, take it. I got to go start. Like, to me, my mindset immediately was like, time to start training. There was no time to sit around and wallow. All I did was, you won the belt, it's yours. Now I'm going to go start training, and I got to start right away. Like Bill Belichick said, yeah, winning the Super Bowl is nice, but now we're 4 weeks behind preparing for the next season. That's my mindset. You know what I'm saying? And so I didn't have time to shake hands. I just wanted to get off the stage and go start studying.
Well, that makes a lot of sense because, as we all know, the Schmoedown is correlated to wrestling. So there's times in championship matches where there will be a new champion crowned, and the person that lost the title will immediately get out of the ring and let that person have their moment. So that makes a lot of sense now. At first, I was kind of confused why that happened. I was like, I don't know if that was a spur of the moment, just get out of my face kind of deal. But that makes a lot of sense how you explain it that way. Well, I asked Christian this last week, and I think he had a good response to it. So I kind of want to get yours, and just in regards to Emma personally.
Yeah.
In that, I mean, she gets what the Schmoedown is and what it's going for. Would you agree with that?
Yes. I think she's the greatest interviewer we have.
Right.
That's what I would say. She understands how to conduct those interviews, how to get to where we're going with those interviews, and how to end those interviews. That's really important, man. That's a talent you cannot teach, right? You can learn. You're born. I think that kind of thing you're born with. You know, you can technically teach someone, but she's able to organically flow within those interviews to move from one question to the next, to increase the ante on it, and then end it when she's supposed to end it. No matter what happens, she always ends it professionally and always begins it professionally. So, for me, she's the best at it, to be honest with you. And I'm always happy when I'm doing a post-match interview with Emma more than anyone else. And there's no violation of her as a person or violation of her as a woman, because it's really important to me. And that's some of the things that really pissed me off on Twitter and on the Schmoedown Movie Trivia Schmoedown Facebook page, was people were thinking I was actually physically abusing Emma, and that I can't have that, man. My mom raised me better than that. I never put my hands on a woman, and I never will. And so those comments really got to me, and I was like, nope, I can't be part of this situation if people are really going to take it seriously and not use their fucking heads. You know, like, no person would willingly put themselves in that position on tape. You know what I'm saying? On video.
Exactly.
Right? So.
Yeah, I think she's really great, and she's come. I mean, she was never bad, but she's come a long way since the beginning, and you can just tell when somebody gets it, and she's definitely got it. Now I want to move into the triple threat match. It was announced this week that it is official. It will be you. It will be Mark Riley. It will be Dan Murrell at Collider Collision triple threat. You got your wish.
Well, it's interesting because when I went to Christian about it, he said to me, let me think about it. But if I do this, there's consequences. And I go, what do you mean? He's like, it might mean that you guys, whoever loses, and it could be you, can't fight for the title for a while. And I was like, okay, I don't care. Yes, fine. I don't care. I have to get my belt back. And he's like, okay. And it could mean other consequences. And I go, what do you mean? Because you could step out of it and just let Riley and Dan fight at Collider Collision, and then you fight the winner at the next thing. But in the meantime, you're going to have to fight someone else. And it might be Clark, it might be Ellis. And I thought about it, and I'm like, he goes, I'll give you 24 hours. And so I thought about it, but in the end, to be honest with you, this seems like the smartest decision for all three of us, because people have followed this Schmoedown for a year now. Riley started out as a champ, then Dan took over and was undefeated, and then I beat him. So Dan has never beaten me. Riley's only beaten me once. And I mean, I've beaten them combined 6 times. And so this is a great way to kind of wrap this whole 3-way rivalry up. And I expect it's going to be a hell of a match, a knockdown, drag-out match. It might go to like 7 rounds of sudden death. I don't know what's going to happen, to be honest with you. But I think we owe the fans a triple threat match of our storyline wrapping up once and for all. Because people are right. People are clamoring for new blood, McWeeny, Bibiani, those guys. I totally get it. As a fan of wrestling, I get tired of John Cena. I got tired of him for a long time. You know what I'm saying? Sure. I get it. The same people over and over again. And I bring ratings. Like, I bring ratings. Riley brings ratings. Dan brings ratings. So, like, we are some of the top dogs in the league. But in the end, people do like to have the new blood. So you see these people coming up, and you have to create space for them. And I have always said, bring them on. Bring them on, because you get challenged by the people who beat you or by the people you think you might lose to. And I think this is a great situation to have so many talented people and knowledgeable people who want to be part of the Schmoedown. To me, I'm happy to do a triple threat match, and that's the reason why I want to do it.
Someone else that also says they bring the ratings is one Bob Finstock or Tom Dagnino. Now he had some words with your stablemate William Bibiani the other day, saying that the 4 horsemen aren't worth anything anymore. So What are your thoughts on Finstock?
Oh, well, listen. I wait with bated breath to see what happens at the tag team match, championship match, because I want the Patriots to win. Not because I hate Riley or I have issues with Wolves of Steel or Clark Wolf. No, it's because they took our belts on a lucky answer, and Matt played the worst game of his life that he's ever played for us. And I know Matt wants revenge, and I want revenge for Matt, and I want us to shut Finstock up and send him back behind that dumpster, the 7-Eleven. Like, I just want to finish him off once and for all. Finish the Lions Cub, the Cub Lions Den, Lions Cubs Den. Finish them off to pieces once and for all, because no one's ever been scared of them, and I want to shut them all up. And so it's great. I think it's a great rivalry between the factions. I love that Tom is fantastic. Finstock is great. He doesn't need to yell like me or be loud like me. Tom is the silent assassin. Just kind of he goes right under your skin. He undercuts everything you do, and it frustrates the living hell out of you. He's so good at it. You know, that's what's so great about this league, man. There's so many different approaches to these characters, so many different approaches to these people that are inherently who these people are inside, and they're just bringing it out in a more like a fantastical way. And what Tom has done has been great. He's like, I'm not going to be able to yell and do all the histrionics that Rocha does or Riley does or anybody else does. I'm going to do it my way, subtle, to the point, and you know, cutting your legs out from under you. So he's great at it, and that's all I can say.
Yeah, he is definitely something else. That is for sure. I'm glad that I got your prediction for the team title match. I was going to ask you. You definitely. Yeah. I understand the want of the Patriots to win, so you can beat themselves. Speaking of that, now your guys' last team match, you and Matt Nost, was against the Schmoes, and you once again were triumphant against the Schmoes.
Yep.
What is it like to not only to beat Christian at his own game? What does that feel like?
I don't know if I've ever seen it that way. Do you know what I'm saying?
Sure.
To me, it's a matter of pride. Like Christian is when I beat him in our one-on-one match in the Ultimate Schmoedown tournament. That was the moment that I made the turn to believe 100% that I could really do this. Do you know what I'm saying? Because Christian is really, really knowledgeable about movies.
Absolutely.
And he's competitive as they come. He's as competitive as we're both East Coast boys. We're both Yankees fans. We're both driven to achieve and succeed in our respective fields. And so we're a great rivalry in that way, you know, but I respect the living hell out of Christian. And so to beat him again as the Schmoes, for us, it meant a lot because everyone thought it was a fluke, you know, and because the people love the Schmoes so much. And then there was some controversy behind the scenes about it. And so for us to come in, beat them clean once and for all again, it just really kind of settled the argument for everybody. Team Top 10 is one of the top teams in the league, period. Everyone knows the Patriots are just renting our titles. They really are just leasing our titles and borrowing our titles for now. Once we get our shot, and that's why they chose to fight the winner of Wolves or Team ETC, because they knew we were going to go through them like crap through a goose. I swear to God, we're going to TKO the Patriots. That's my prediction. We're going to TKO the Patriots if they defeat Wolves of Steel.
Well, also, I mean, not even that. You and Christian even teamed up. Everybody
knows I hang out at the Schmoedown. Whenever there's a Schmoedown, I'm there. Because I love it. Because to me, it's like I'm scouting the opposition.
Sure.
And I'm also taking notes for myself about movies that I don't know. Because there are questions that they ask, and sometimes I'm like, Jesus, I only got 3 right in this first round. If this was my first round in a championship match, I'd be screwed. And so that motivates me to go back home and go, okay, what are the movies they mentioned? All right, I need to watch this movie. I need to make notes about this movie and memorize it. And so I like to be around. So Christian was like, he's like, we want to come watch this match. I'm supposed to take on Andy. I'm like, hell yeah, it's your revenge match. I'll come watch. You know, because we're friends. We went to college together, and we do this together. So I was like, okay. I'm sitting there, and he's like, I think he wants to bring Dan on. And I'm like, what? And he goes, yeah, I think he wants to do a tag team match. I go, well, where's Ellis? He goes, he's out of town. He's doing a comedy thing. I was like, okay. He goes, if he brings Dan on, do you want to come on with me? I was like, fuck yes. I would love to play Andy and Dan, especially to get back at Andy for all the times he makes me lose on movie fights. So,
yes.
You know.
Yes, indeed.
So I was like, this ain't an objective contest now, son. This is real. Or subjective rather. This is real. Yeah. So he was like, if Dan shows up, will you be ready? I'll just come get me. I was sitting outside the green room, or outside the where they were shooting, and I was just like on my phone, just looking up Twitter and stuff, hanging out. And he's like, he comes running in, and he's like, he goes, he brought Dan. I go, let's do it. Let's do this. He goes, are you sure? I was, yeah, let's do it. Let's have it. But it's so funny to play with Christian, brother, because we're two different styles. And if you watch that match, you can tell Christian is like dancing on the edge of a razor blade. And I am like sitting on a beach chair, having a blast, you know? And so he got so upset with me a couple of times. And I was just like, just calm down. Calm the fuck down. Like, let's just play. It's so funny because I used to be like Christian, and Matt Nost was the one that got me out of that way of being. And so I'm more relaxed. Like, I like to have fun while I'm playing, and I like to let loose when I need to let loose and then, like, relax. So with that, because Christian kind of took that mantle from me for our match, I was able to be more relaxed, and he was like on edge about everything. But we made a great team.
It was really cool to see you on Movie Talk, and when you kind of popped up on the Schmoes No Show here or there when you had won the championship, just to see that kind of, to see you at ease, because a lot of times we do see you are in outlaw mode. I mean, let's be honest, you are. Yeah. You're there. You're ready to go, and it was kind of cool to just see you just kind of like grinning at people. You even asked David Griffin where's his belt, which I love that line so much. That cracked me up. I about that. But yeah. But I mean, it's a point of pride for you, and I can tell that. I can during the championship match when you won it from Dan on the last question, just seeing the look on your face and like almost on the brink of tears. I don't know if there were tears. I'm not going to confirm nor deny. I didn't see. But I think it was crazy because at the end of the day, this is movie trivia. At the end of the day, that's all it is. It's movie trivia between friends, more or less. The fact that me is just a watcher and a fan. I'm sitting here like watching on my couch on like a Friday watching my TV, and here's a person that I've never met in my entire life, only via the internet,
right,
against another guy I've only ever seen on YouTube, and they're causing me an extreme emotional reaction to the point where like I'm even kind of like sniffing a little bit. I'm like, he finally did it. Like the Outlaw did it. Like, it's crazy how much of a emotional response these matches and you guys can pull off as characters. It's insane. Like, how does that make you feel? Like, have you had any run-ins with people like in public that see you and are like, hey man, like really appreciate what you're doing? Anything like that?
Oh yeah, dude, it happens all the time. That's what's insane. It happens all the time here in LA and random places. I've been approached at gas stations. I've been approached in movie theaters. I've been approached in like the World Market, which is a store out here in LA. Mm-hmm. I've been approached in the Valley a number of times. I work at Universal Studios. People come into my room purposefully who have watched the Schmoedown and watched me on the Schmoedown to come into my room as a wand keeper and like wait after everybody leaves and go, John Rocha, I love you. You're the best. And I can't break character or I'll get fired. So I always go, I don't know who you're talking about, but he seems like a nice man. He seems like a good man, a very talented man. So I can't break character. I have to stay with him. So it always happens, and it's amazing. And when people pull me aside to tell me how much it meant that I won, that's really humbling and very moving too, because, it's just a movie trivia game. But for me, I think people could tell the authenticity of which I wanted something. And I think it reflected back to other people. Like, other people know what it's like to dream or fight or struggle to want something, to get something, and then to have the opportunity to get it and then to win it. Right? Like I think I don't want to overstate this, and I hope I'm not overstating, but I think people saw a bit of themselves in the Outlaw. Like, I want to be that. I want to be that, the guy who keeps fighting, keeps pushing, and yeah, maybe I'm a little cocky at times. Maybe I shoot my mouth off when I shouldn't shoot my mouth off, but I'm backing it up, and there's a pride in backing it up. Do you know what I'm saying? I think people love these guys who can talk shit and back it up, and I was winning, and people were getting on on the Outlaw bandwagon in the Outlaw, and they were joining the Outlaw Nation in mass every match that I won because they liked how I was doing it, and then they got invested in my journey. And yeah, when I won, that was legitimate, man. Those 5-10 seconds, that's legitimate. I couldn't believe I beat him because I didn't know the answer to that question. I thought he might have got it right. So when I yelled, that was legitimate from my heart, and I immediately jumped into the Outlaw mode, which I kind of regretted later because I should have stayed I should have stayed in the positive message mode, but I got really caught up in it because I was so happy to finally win, and I couldn't believe it when it happened. And because Dan was a juggernaut.
Well, I mean, emotions are running high, so I think we can all give you a pass on that one for not hanging about for that one in particular. I correlate. Like the reason I say that I had an emotional response to it was, I mean, I definitely saw a piece of myself, like you said, in that particular instance. It reminded me of a good buddy of mine that for his entire life, all he wanted to be was a police officer. It's all he ever wanted to be. Yeah. And for so many years, he blew it off. He went to college and got a completely different degree about something else because he's just like, I'll never be able to do it. And then he finally got to the point in his life where he was just like, if I don't at least try, then I'm just going to kick myself in the ass like my entire life. And he finally did it. And like, he graduated the police academy. He's got awesome. All these awards. And I'm just happy as hell for the guy. So like to see something like that happen for him and for you in a different sense, it's kind of, it fills me with joy to see someone accomplish something they've always tried to, whether it be, Schmoedown, real life, WrestleMania, it doesn't matter. Like it's achieving that dream, and it's an awesome feeling. I think everybody can relate to that. And that's what makes the Schmoedown so cool. It's something we can all relate to, and that is amazing. Let me break away from this for a second, because I have to ask you this, because I think there's some conspiracy action, maybe a little whispers behind the scenes that yourself and the Beast are perhaps having words. Is there a disagreement there? What? Because we saw the WonderCon footage where you guys kind of had a little back and forth. What's going on there?
Yeah, well, listen. Sometimes when you bring in a wild stallion, you got to break him in slow, but you got to let him still be himself. And I think that's what's happening with the Beast. Like the Beast came in, and we immediately saw a raw talent who knew a lot about movies. And so we recruited him, and he came into the Four Horsemen, and Burnett was perfect to bring on as well. And so, like, it's just a great team where we're at now. But I think Bibiani is one of these guys who reminds me of a young me. He wants it. And so I try to guide him. I try to steer him. But, he thinks he knows everything already. He thinks he should be champion already. Like, and I'm always like, you can think anything you want. Well, the one thing, and I want to make this really, really clear, and I've said this over and over again, and I say it out loud sometimes after certain matches when I'm there, don't anoint people before they fight for real. When they fight cupcake matches at the beginning to establish their records, have them fight real competitors. Then you can start crowing about, give McWeenie the title, give Bibiani the title, give Andreyko the title. To those people who are so short-term in their thinking and don't understand the Schmoedown and don't understand the amount of knowledge we have, as if we're somehow also Rands, is insulting to me and Dan and Riley. And Clark Wolf, too, I'm sure. Like, we have fought for this in this league for a long time. Snyder as well. I guess Snyder should be in the mix as well. And we have fought. We know what this league's all about. We know how tough it is. And so when guys come in thinking they know everything, then it personally irks me. It really does, like in a legitimate way, not the Outlaw, like John Rocha. I get mad because I'm like, you guys don't know shit. You guys don't know shit till you get in that arena, till the lights are on, till the questions come on, till the tide turns in the middle of the match that you didn't see coming, till the person comes roaring back at you and you're flustered. You don't understand. It's easy when you're sitting offset in the chair with a pizza in your mouth and a Coke in your hand. But when you're on set, it's a whole other different ball game. And so with Bibbs, I just think Bibbs he's so driven, he's so hungry that I think he's getting ahead of himself. And so I try to corral him, and I don't know if it's going to work. I don't know if he's going to listen. But I think if he doesn't listen, he's going to start losing matches. That's my belief. And I want to show him the way, and whether he wants to listen to me or not, we'll see.
Hungry like a beast indeed. Hashtag a growl. I mean, just to see.
But just to clarify this, and I want people like that in my stable. I want hungry people in my. I want us to have all the belts. I want us to have everything. So I like it. I just need to. I feel like I need to corral him, and he probably hates it. So I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen between us, man. I don't know how much longer he can hold on or I can hold on. We'll see.
Well, okay. Well, going to that point, is there after this triple threat, and after you may or may not gain the championship? I don't want to get ahead of ourselves. I don't want to put a jinx on anybody.
Please don't.
Is there somebody that you see that you haven't come across yet? I know that I had talked with Clark Wolf a few weeks ago. She said that a match with you would be really fun. Is there somebody that you personally would like to take on, whether it be a title match or not, that you're just kind of looking to get in there with?
Listen, I I would love to face Clark. We somehow can't seem to face each other. I don't know what it is, the way that everything kind of plays out. We have yet to face each other one-on-one. She could have been facing me for the title, and it didn't work out. I don't know if they're going to beat the Patriots. If they beat the Patriots, then finally I get to play Clark Wolf, at least in a team match. So I respect her very much, and I would love to have a match with her. I think I'd love to have a one-on-one with JT because I'm sick and tired of him saying that I've never beaten him, which is bullshit because he's been carried by Snyder and carried by Finstock both those matches. So for me, but at the end of the day, I have to beat Mark Ellis. He is the one guy I've never in a revenge match. Like I beat Mance, I've beaten Riley, I've beaten Harloff, I've beaten Dan, but I've never beat Ellis, and I gotta beat him. I beat him in the Schmoes. It's not satisfying enough to me. I want to beat him one-on-one because I lost that title shot. Damn it. And I want revenge for that. Yeah.
I don't feel like people understand how tough Ellis is because Ellis has such a calm demeanor.
Yeah,
he doesn't come off as a guy that sits there and has. I mean this in the nicest way possible. He just doesn't seem like a guy that would have all of that knowledge. But then he gets in there and absolutely destroys people, and he's a silent assassin because he comes in there all laid back with his Hawaiian shirts and his baby carrots deal and all that business. And it's so difficult to try to figure out what does this guy know? Like it's such a mystery. I see what you mean. He's a hard dude to figure out. I feel like he's always been that way.
Yeah. Yeah. And he like you're right. He's so nice. And for all the shit he gives me on camera, or when you see the behind the scenes one that's on Schmoedown right now, that just dropped, like he's a very supportive guy with me, you know. And we have great conversations. We're both from Virginia. We're both Redskins fans, and so it's like we have a great connection. But that can lull you into a false sense of security, you know, and that's what he does. But Mark is driven to achieve what he achieves. He's just driven in a way that it's not overt. It just happens for him. Like he works hard at it, but he doesn't approach it from like, I gotta have this, I gotta get this. It's a more like, you know, he's just kind of thinks he just knows what he wants to do, and he just is a battering ram until he gets it. And it's with a velvet glove, right? It's like a hammer inside of a velvet glove. That's what he is. And you don't feel it initially, and then eventually you just give in. And that's what happens. And people under like he took Dan to the last question. People forget that at the Spectacular. He took Dan to the last question. So he's no one to overlook or underestimate. And that's why I want to face him once and for all. I want to put him to bed once and for all.
Let's get away from the Schmoedown talk right now. Let's get into something different that you're going to be doing on the SK Plus channel. It's Outlaw Nation. It's your own show. So kind of give me an idea, because I'm really not 100% sure what's happening, and kind of give our not really sure. Give our listeners out there an idea of what this show is going to be about, and like what kind of content are you going to be providing here? Well,
you know, if you follow me on Twitter and Instagram, you know that I have a lot to say about a lot of things, just as myself and also as the Outlaw. So this kind of Outlaw Nation really came out of nowhere. Like people joining it, people wanting to comment, people wanting to talk about stuff. And I feel like what's happening in our country now, in the world now, there needs to be like this place to release, to vent, to just kind of let some steam out. And Christian and I were talking a few weeks ago, and I was like, hey, I'm thinking about a show, and like, you know, I do the Cinephiles with Steve. I wonder if and he's like, nah, I don't know if that's 100% a Schmoes No show. Like, I don't know if that belongs on the network. And he says to me, he goes, what about a show with you? And I go, what do you mean? Like my own show? He's like, yeah, do you want to do it? And I go, if you're serious, then if I'm going to do a show, it's got to be my show. And he's like, what does that mean? I go, I want to be able to talk about whatever the fuck I want to talk about, whatever I want to rage about. I want to have people on to talk about different things. And he's like, hell yeah, man, it's your show. If you want to do that, absolutely, I support it. Outlaw Nation, let's do it. Oh, it's great. Outlaw Nation, awesome. And so for me, I made it real clear to him, and so you guys understand, Outlaw Nation is a show where you will hear about movies and TV and all the nerd geek stuff that we can talk about, sure. But you're also going to hear stuff. You're going to hear political takes. You're going to hear sports takes. You're going to hear pop culture takes. You're going to hear gossip takes. You're going to hear takes on comic books at some point, even anime. If Emma wants to come on every once in a while, like we're going to talk about whatever people want to talk about that they're passionate about. And I want to have like people sending me questions. Like already on Facebook, so many people sent so many amazing questions and so many amazing topics to talk about. So I'm constructing the first episode over this weekend now as we speak and do this interview. And so for me, that's what the show is going to be about. We're going to talk about stuff that people are passionate about, angry about, happy about, frustrated about, want to see changes or want to keep going, want to improve. And so it's going to be wide open subject material, but we are going to keep it steeped in film and television, but we're also going to talk politics, talk sports, talk all these kind of things. And it's going to be a fun, even-handed show, and it's going to be great. It's going to be a lot of fun, and I think people are going to enjoy the shit out of it. And I hope it grows from this to something even bigger. And I want to interact with the fans. So I'm going to be reading the fans' comments, questions, tweets, what have you, and take them into consideration and talk about them on the show. And hopefully I'll even have segments where like people can call in live and talk to me. The occasional show we'll do it live, and we'll have conversations on air. And so it's my way to kind of like create something really powerful in the universe, really powerful in the world, and kind of give people a voice. To talk about whatever they want to talk about.
Pretty awesome. I'll just get this out of the way real quick. Any chance that Steve will be a guest on your show?
Yeah, from the Cinephiles? Absolutely.
Yeah,
Steve is very hardcore political guy. So Steve will come on the show and talk politics. Absolutely. And Steve's very even-handed with his politics. So it'll be great to have him on the show. And so, yeah, absolutely. And Matt Nost has already agreed to come on and talk basketball and movies and whatever. We talked about it over the weekend, over this past weekend. So Matt's in. Emma's already said she'll come on. We're going to talk about, like, with Emma. I hope I get Danny Fernandez to come on. I hope I get a bunch of the female pundits, Clark Wolf, or Perry. Like, I want women to come on and talk about female issues in the nerd world, like female versus male issues. There's no too controversial a subject for us to talk about. There isn't. That's what I want Outlaw Nation to be. We are not your mainstream podcast. We're not. We're going to talk about all kinds of shit. And we're going to explore some things, and we're going to have people come on and talk about their real feelings. Like this Wonder Woman merchandising thing, that is legitimately going to be one of the subjects, and I can tell you that right now. I can spoil that. We're legitimately going to talk about this because I think there's two sides to this issue, and I want both sides to be talked about, and heard from. And so I'm hoping that that's something that's the kind of stuff that we'll be hitting every week. And it seems to be there's enough news stories every week. I mean, Movie Talk does stuff every day. TV Talk's about to go daily next week. So there's a bunch of stuff and a bunch of news that we can talk about. And if I can get the people to come on, because I'm going to be mobile, going from place to place, interviewing people at their convenience, I think we're going to cover a lot of subjects, and it's going to be a very rich show that people are going to enjoy.
Sounds really cool. Is this going to be in video only, or were you not there yet?
Well, right now it's going to be audio only, but I'm kind of moving things around in my place to create a Outlaw YouTube channel.
Oh, okay.
That's going to be the next thing. Yeah, people have been clamoring for me to do like an Outlaw YouTube channel where I talk about trailer reviews, talk about movie. I've talked to the Real Rejects. They were showing me how to do it. Wendy Lee with her was it Love Couple, the couple? I forget what it's called.
The movie couple channel.
The movie couple, yeah. She was teaching me like what I could get, what I could buy. So just know, I was resisting it for a long time because I'm like, everyone has a YouTube channel. And I'm not the outlaw if I'm doing what everyone else is doing. So in my mind, I resisted for a long time. But the noise has gotten too loud of people who want to hear my thoughts on things. And so I'm like, okay, I'm going to give it a chance. Maybe it dies in a month. But I'm going to try this Outlaw YouTube channel, see how I feel about it, see if I enjoy doing it. I've already bought the equipment. So I'm going to do some test runs and see how it goes. And if it works on a video sense, then I will make Outlaw Nation a video podcast when I can, like when I can bring people on. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
so
very cool.
That'll be the situation. Yeah.
Yeah. Now that it's been explained to me, I like the idea of it because at first I didn't know what it was. I was like, is he just going to talk about the Schmoedown for 30 minutes? That sounds like it's kind of a waste of his talents. No offense, but
no.
It's kind of cool that it's going to be completely different than anything that's on the channel right now. It's completely different takes because I mean we have kind of. It's kind of put in a box, but there's more specialty shows as we have shows that cater to the Schmoedown live show or the Schmoedown, like the show we're on now. So it's different, and I like that. I like that feel. That's very cool to get. it's kind of like, and I was talking with Clark about this. It's like a different way to show your personality and get to know you better, not only as a Schmoedown competitor, as we know you in this sense, but also a person.
Yeah.
And that's really cool to see someone that's going to open themselves up, and it's like, hey, here I am, take it or leave it. I think that's awesome.
Yeah. I appreciate that, man. Thanks.
Well,
thank you, man.
The best kind of at you, and they tell you exactly how I feel, and hey, let's start a conversation about it. And if you don't want to talk about it, well, then, screw you. Go put your head in the sand. I mean, it's true. I like that kind of stuff. Is there anything that you want to say to address Outlaw Nation as a whole, and then perhaps maybe just Schmoedown fans in general that haven't quite maybe got on board with you yet? What do you have to say?
Well, that's a great question. To the Outlaw Nation, I say thanks so much for standing by me, win or lose. Like, it really matters. You know what I'm saying? And it means a lot because losing sucks. If anyone knows John Rocha, they know I hate losing. In any arena, I hate losing. It can eat me up for days. I've gotten better about it, but I hate it. And so for you guys, all the supportive comments, all the people saying Outlaw Nation, with or without the belt, we are Outlaw Nation, I really appreciate that. Because I'll be back. I'm going to get that belt again. Just know that. And so to me, it means a lot to know that I've still got this fan base with me, and they don't abandon me, and they're not like bandwagon people jumping right off as soon as I lose. So thanks to them. Thank you to all of them who are listening and who are. And if you want to become Outlaw Nation, what can I tell you? Haven't you ever felt like you're sick and tired of the mainstream stuff? You're sick and tired of doing what everyone else tells you to do. You're sick and tired of living the life like everyone else has mapped out for you. That's what Outlaw Nation is for. It's for you who's sick and tired of that shit, wants to do something different, wants to think outside the box. Come with me on this journey. I promise you won't regret it. Anybody can be a hero. Anybody can do the right thing. We're trying to destroy that idea that doing the right thing is the only way to go. And I don't mean that we're going to do bad things. I mean that sometimes doing the right thing puts you in such a box that you are forced to just do these kinds of things that aren't necessarily always the best. And they hurt people in the long run because you're not thinking all the way like of a better way to do things. So come on. If you're a free thinker, if you're a person who thinks outside the box, to come join Outlaw Nation, come with me. And to those people who take this shit way too seriously, and I just had to get off the page, man. At the Movie Trivia Schmoedown page. I haven't addressed this yet publicly, but I'll do it here. I just couldn't take all these people accusing me of things that I didn't do, and accusing me of all these other things. It just got to me too. I was just I don't need that kind of negativity as soon as I wake up in the morning, every damn morning, every afternoon. Ever since I lost the belt, I was getting 20 to 40 tags of people going, I choked, I whined, I bitched, I moaned, all these kinds of things, and not looking at the overall of what's happening. And we're way too thinking that I was actually physically abusing people. People think I got in a fist fight with Ken, which never happened. All this kind of crap. I kind of hit a wall where I was like, you know what? I got to live my life, and I can't do it like dealing with the negativity of people. So I got off. And, a lot of people, apparently it was a big deal. I didn't know. I haven't looked on that page since. But Christian was telling me, he's like, what did you do? Why did you leave? And I was like, I told him why. He's like, I totally get why you left. He goes, but it's a hot topic all day today. And so maybe in some indirect way, me leaving kind of woke some people up and put leashes on some people and made them realize, hey, man, we're all real human beings. And just because you're sitting there, you're 16 years old, you think you shoot your mouth off, there's no coincidences to it. Well, we don't want to be around that. So the consequence is that you don't get to be around me anymore. You don't get to hear me. You don't get to hear me talk. And maybe that's what you wanted in the long run. But oh, well, that's what it is. Because I don't want to be around that kind of shit. I'm happy to have back and forth with the fans as long as they're in on it. When the fans start taking it personally, start acting like it's real, then they can kiss my ass. That's the truth.
I'm glad you cleared that up, because as someone that I frequent the Movie Trivia Schmoedown page. I'm actually an admin on there. So
there we go.
So yeah, there that is. So I'm on there quite frequently. I did kind of wonder, because I was out of the loop. I didn't know what happened, and then people were talking about it, and I was like, "What in the world happened?" And then it was explained to me, and I was like, "Well, I mean, it makes sense. It makes sense why the guy left. I would have left too." So I'm glad you cleared that up for people. Thank you for doing that.
You're welcome, man. And I want this clear. It's not because I lost. It's not because I lost. It's because people didn't understand and respect the situation. Nobody tore Riley up when he lost like that. Nobody went after him at the levels that they went after me. And I get it. I'm the heel. I'm supposed to be hated. But you can do it within the realm of the show, like the understanding that it's all like we're all playing characters. Like we get it, but like when you're doing it to where you actually think I'm going and getting into fistfights with somebody, or I'm actually physically abusing a woman, or I'm like actually like walking off and telling Riley, go, kiss my ass. Like, those are things where you just go like, come on, guys, you got to be smarter than this. And that I actually like, bamboozled Christian into doing the triple threat match. All that stuff is just like, come on, guys, you guys got to be better than this.
Yeah, it's kind of that illusion between fan and athlete, where it's like, most of you guys are so accessible. I think it just kind of gives people I don't want to say a disillusion, but like maybe a false sense of how close to each other. It's it's not like because you retweeted something I said. In my mind, we're not going around the corner for drinks just because you retweeted one of my tweets. It's just that's a thing. That's cool. That's awesome. But I think some people don't see it that way. And it's like, well, I mean, he talks to me online, so we're friends. Like it's not really quite that way, but anyway, I digress. I'll save that for Outlaw Nation. But let's close this down. I really appreciate you, John, taking the time on this. It's actually Saturday, so it's okay. Yeah, I'll just break the whole kayfabe. It's Saturday right now, so I really appreciate it. So Outlaw Nation, the first episode will drop sometime in this coming week, I believe.
This Thursday. This
Thursday. Okay, great, fantastic. Is there a specific time, or I guess at this point it doesn't matter.
Well, I hope in the morning. I'm hoping in the morning. Yeah.
Okay, fantastic. Well, I look forward to watching it. I think everybody should definitely. I mean, check it out. Come on, support all of these Schmoedown. Come on,
yeah. And I will have Schmoedown people on the show as well. We will talk Schmoedown as well. So we're going to cover a lot of things. So and yeah, please give us a shot. Give it a shot. See if you like it. And of course, I'm open to any constructive criticism. The key being constructive criticism.
Underline that 3 times.
Yeah, exactly. I'm happy to listen because I want it to be a good show, and I want people to want to like listen to it every week and come back in numbers. So.
Well, that's fantastic. And what else do you have going on? Are you, of course, the Cinephiles podcast? Love that
you guys
show. It's great.
Thank you. We just almost crossed 10,000 listeners the other day, which is
congratulations,
amazing for us. Thank you. Yeah, we when we first started out, it was barely 1,000. So to see us growing the way we're growing, the levels that we're growing, I'm really happy about how the show's going, and I think we're going to start a Patreon soon. So to kind of because we're going to start expanding the show a little bit more, and so it's going to help for us. Movie talk every Friday. We talk, on Collider. Movie talk every Friday. We talked about the Schmoedown already. We talked about Outlaw Nation, and there are some voiceover stuff coming down the pike that I can't talk about yet, but I can't wait till I can talk about it because some cool projects that have just happened, and I've signed NDA, so I can't talk about it too much. So, but when that happens, I'll be able to announce it. And that's my life, man. I'm having a good time, and thanks for having me on here. And I had, it's fun. It was always fun to catching up with you,
John Rocha, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, sir, once again for coming on.
My pleasure, man. My pleasure. Thanks for having me on. It was a blast.
Of course.
And go Outlaw Nation.
And we're back with team previews this week. First up, it is the team title match that we've been anticipating. It is the Wolves of Steel and Mark Riley versus Team Patriots, JT and Jeff. Don't call me Schneider, Snyder. Frank, how do you see this going? Who do you got?
Oh, I cannot wait for this match. Patriots are so full of themselves that they are set up to lose, and I love when that happens. I mean, that's what we do. We build these people up and then we tear them down. And Wolves of Steel this season through their 2 matches has been on an absolute tear. They're answering 79% correct as a team. For 6 of 6 in steal opportunities. They're earning nearly 74% of all their available points. So they are at the top of their game at the right moment, heading into this battle with the Patriots, who are doing pretty good in their 1 match against Trek. They're answering 69%. They haven't had any steal opportunities. I mean, they won by sudden death, So they've been tested, and I'm not a big, I guess you can say, believer in Team Trek's dominance, if you will, or they're as good as the record is. I think they kind of got by through that first win, and Patriots kind of played down to Trek a little bit, or I think that's who the Patriots are. 69%, still really good. But, man, I am taking Wolves of Steel because Riley has been very, very dominant in that first round, absolutely decimating that first round. I think he's 14 of 16, through the first round alone through his 2 matches. Clark Wolf not far behind. Her game is really coming into form, especially after that win over JTE, and then she did pretty well against when they had that inter-team scrimmage, if you will, between Wolf and Riley. So I think her confidence is back. Past post-match interviews, she's really hungry for this title more than ever, which is great to see. Always love to see Clark compete, and now they're going to be on the biggest stage in the team division, and I think they are going to snatch it from the Patriots. Their reign will come to an end, and the Lions then will be nothing but little kitty cats at the end of this match.
Oh, wow. Brian, what do you think, man? Who you got?
Well, much like Aaron last week, I look forward to picking a movie for Frank to watch next week. However, I said it in regards to singles, and I'll say it for teams. I cannot pick against Jeff Snyder right now.
Schneider.
Unlike Collider Nightmares, this nightmare of a match is one that Clark and Riley won't want to save, as the Patriots will beat the Wolves of Steel, retaining their belts in the process.
This is going to sound crazy, but I am in agreement with Brian on this one.
Oh, God.
Frank, you're going to be in a bad way next week. I feel like Team Patriots is just too good right now. Yeah, they've had tight matches with Top 10. They had a tight match with Trek. But, man, they are going to be tough to beat. Jeff Snyder's rolling hard after that big win over Bakuga, and McWeeny as well. So Jeff's coming in hot. JT lost to Clark, and he's kind of on a downturn in singles, but when for some reason, when those two fuse together and form the Patriots, they're on a different level. And I think the Patriots are going to rise to the occasion and win again. As much as I really enjoy Clark and Mark, as much as I enjoy saying that, I really think the Patriots are going to win this match. It wouldn't surprise me at all if they did. I think it'll be a close one again for the Patriots, but I have them pointed out. Now let's jump into the singles preview this week. It is an Inner Geekdom #1 contenders match between Jeremy Awesome Tacular Jahns versus a guy that I'm not sure if he's mentally stable or not, Robert Meyer Burnett. Brian, let's start with you on this one. Who do you think's going to win? Who you got?
Despite the wisdom and experience of Robert Meyer Burnett, Lady Luck has been on Jeremy Jahns' side of late, so I'm going to go with him. He just got his hair cut, so that can only help matters since he won't have to worry about his hair during the match.
Oh, interesting angle. I like it. Frank, what do you think?
Yeah, this is going to be an interesting match. Jeremy Jahns has only competed in Fatal 5-Ways, 2 of them. Robert Meyer Burnett has competed in 1, and then in a traditional singles format against Hector Navarro, in which he lost the title. It's tough because Robert Meyer Burnett, he's answering 74% correct. Jahns is answering 72% correct. And there's not a whole lot of gaps in between in terms of who's not as knowledgeable in certain areas. Obviously, Robert Meyer Burnett has the advantage in Star Trek. He's actually 12 for 12 in the Inner Geekdom series. Jeremy Jahns, he's only 1 of 4. I don't know how much Star Trek knowledge Jeremy Jahns knows, but 1 of 4 doesn't seem like he knows that much. Where I think things could get really interesting is in the DC Extended Universe category and the Marvel Cinematic Universe category. They haven't really been tested that much. Jeremy Jahns, he's 3 of 4 in the DC EU. Robert Meyer Burnett, he's 0 and 2 in that category. In the MCU, Jeremy Jahns is 1 of 4. Robert Meyer Burnett's 2 of 4. I think if someone can capitalize in these 2 categories and come out ahead, I think that could be the difference in the match and who puts someone over the top for the win. And I'm really curious to see if my prediction will be correct when I watch this match. But I'm going to take Robert Meyer Burnett in the end. I just think his knowledge is more widespread over all these categories. I think he knows just slightly more. But if it gets heavy on the Star Wars, who knows? Jeremy Jahns could take it. But I'm still taking Robert Meyer Burnett.
Thank you for clarifying your pick. I'm also going to take Robert Meyer Burnett in this because, quite frankly, he terrified me. I'm actually afraid of what he might do to Jeremy Jahns if they're in the same area. That guy has impressed me so much with just his mic skills, his promo skills. Just his presence has come up about 15 notches since the first time we've seen him. So I really appreciate the showmanship on Burnett's part. If you haven't seen that Facebook video that he put up about Jeremy, holy cow, definitely check it out. It's frightening. It's borderline terrifying. I just think Robert is more well-rounded than Jeremy. And I've seen Jeremy compete in the Inner Geekdoms, and I know he does well. And I know people are going to say I'm underestimated him, and maybe I am. But I tend to take the wily veteran on this one, and I will take Robert Meyer Burnett to beat Jeremy Jahns. And then I will even go a step further and take Robert to beat Hector to win that Inner Geekdom championship back. Yeah, that's right. I'm all down.
Simmer down, Sparky.
And just for the record, yes, I did lose the bet last week, so I had to watch Tombstone, which was at Brian's behest. And I'm glad that I did, because I'd never seen it. It was a movie blind spot of mine, and it's a fantastic movie. I love Kurt Russell.
I look forward to picking a movie for you as well next week.
Actually, it'd be me picking a movie for whoever loses. But actually, Frank, I believe I get to pick the movie that you have to watch this week.
Yeah, that's correct, apparently.
Even though you and I had the same picks this week.
Okay, Brian. Well, you got to pick the one last week, so
no,
please.
I just want the audience to know that we were both accurate 100%.
Okay, that's on the record. Well, Frank, this week I'm going to have you take a small dive into Asian cinema and check out the excellent film that is fresh on Rotten Tomatoes. It is called The Man from Nowhere.
The Man from Nowhere. What's it about? Can you tell me what's about real quick?
It is about a guy that
Tom
is
Dagnino.
Yeah, Tom Dagnino, exactly. Sold.
Pretty much. It's the furthest thing from Tom Dagnino. It's actually about a guy that runs a pawn shop and befriends a young girl whose mother is addicted to drugs. And then one day...
This still sounds like Dagnino.
Wow. And then one evening, the drug dealers come to collect from the mother and end up killing her right in front of the child and ended up kidnapping the child. So the pawn shop owner, who has a relationship with this little child, feels bad for her, goes on a revenge tour.
Yeah, this still sounds like Dagnino. You're absolutely correct.
It's legit. Don't watch it with subtitles, or watch it with subtitles. Don't watch it with dubbing, because the dubbing is really bad in that movie. But anyway, that's not important. What is important is that you guys check out both of these matches this week. The team match on Tuesday, and of course the singles match on Friday. And that's going to do it for this episode. But before we go, I have to mention a couple housekeeping things for next week. First and foremost, I'm not going to be here.
No.
So yeah, but there still will be a show. The show must go on. The captain will leave the ship to go on cruise control. We're still looking to lock down a host. We've been in negotiations, and hopefully it works out. And if not, well, we'll find somebody. Don't worry about it. And we'll let you know about that on our Twitter or maybe the Movie Trivia Schmoedown Facebook page, what have you. But, before we get out of here, let's see where everybody can be found. So, Frank Janish, where can you be found, man?
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter, also Instagram, and I guess Snapchat. I'll throw that out there at FrankieJ29. Also, I do the weekly recap of the Schmoedown on schmoesnode.com, coming out on every Sunday now, hopefully, if we can stick to that schedule. That's mostly on my part. And then also, if stats are your thing, I did a reaction video to the Riley Rocha championship match. So if you want to go ahead and check that out, that's on my Twitter. It's a pinned tweet. You can go ahead and give that a look if you'd like. And hopefully I can find some time to do other ones, because those are kind of fun to put together. But yeah, so check it out.
How did I forget to add the Frank Janish of schmoedown.com? God,
stupid. How dare you?
Stupid me. Brian Davids, where can you be found, man? What do you got going on?
You guys can follow me on Twitter at BDF331. Check out my TV film podcast at filmschlubspodcast.com. I just interviewed Vince Gilligan. Coming up, I've got Leftovers co-creator Tom Parada. And special thanks to Clint LaJeunesse at Floyd Pinkster and Shane Bowman at HeisenbergChronicles.com for other help with artwork as usual.
And of course, I'm your host, Aaron. You can find me online on Twitter, and you can, of course, follow the show at SD Rundown. And I just want to say that I can confirm that Mary Poppins is indeed one badass dude. And if you understand that joke, then we can be friends. And until next week, you will. Until next week, it is the Schmoedown Rundown. We're out of here. We'll see you.